What's going on YouTube? JT Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about Gotham City Villains Anniversary Giant. This is the big 100-page comic featuring several iconic DC Gotham supervillains. And you have several artists and writers working on this thing, including none other than the big selling point of this comic is Danny Devito is writing a Penguin story. That's right, Danny DeVito, like the legend himself, been in so many movies, directed some of my favorites like Matilda, starred in so many things. He's fantastic and Always Sunny. And of course, since this is DC Comics, he also is most notable for playing the Penguin in Batman Returns, and such a really great, fantastic performance. Like, I absolutely love Danny DeVito in that movie. He's very entertaining, and he writes quite a story. I'll tell you that. It's one of the strangest comics I've ever read, at least in the past couple of years. Like, it's such a bizarre one. But so there's a lot of different artists and writers. So let's go ahead and go through the credits really quick before we go ahead through the whole thing, so I don't have to do it again. So first off, we have The Penguin, Bird Cat Love, written by Danny DeVito with art by Dan Mora. Scarecrow, the Fearless Man, written and story by Wes Craig. Poison Ivy and Ophiocordyceps Lamia, a really weird title, by G. Willow Wilson, and then Emma Rios. Talia al Ghul and Demon's Game. This one's by Philip Kennedy Johnson and Riccardo Federici. I would say that that's probably the best story in the entire comic. Then we have Talia al Ghul and The Second Eye, written by Nadia Shamas and Joshua Williamson. This is going to tie into several comics, because if you saw my Robin annual review, at the very end of that issue, they showcased Talia as going to be like a factor in Batman, Deathstroke, and the Robin book. And that's basically what this is tying into. Then we have Red Hood for The Sky is Red, written by Stephanie Phillips. This is not really a Red Hood Jason Todd thing. It's just the Red Hood thing kind of when Joker was doing it, like the whole Red Hood gang thing. Then we have Mad Hatter in The Perfect Fit. This one's written by Dan Waters with art by Skylar Partridge. And then last we have Killer Moth, the Happiest Man in Gotham by Margaret Scott, and then art by Ariella Cristantina. Okay, something like that. So yes, there we go. We have a lot of stuff in this comic book, so let's go ahead and quickly summarize the different stories, and I'll give my quick thoughts on them, because I don't want to spend too much time on each one. Maybe the Danny DeVito one just for a second, but like a lot of the other ones are just kind of like, yeah, they're pretty enjoyable. This is a big 100-page thing, so I don't want to be here all day, but it will take a minute to get through it. So the first storyline is written by Danny DeVito, and this is, I guess, his first comic he's ever written, and it certainly shows. Danny DeVito's a really talented filmmaker, and he's also written some good stuff too, but this is an instance where he's kind of getting his feet wet in terms of the medium, because it's not really the best written comic I've read. It's not really the greatest thing, but it's so out there and weird. It's just a really bizarre comic. So yes, we have DeVito there, and basically this is a Catwoman and Penguin love story. So I guess you can say Penguin found the pussy he's been looking for. That's a reference to Batman Returns, in case you can't tell. But yes, this is just them. They're romantically involved. They steal like these vaccines, because this was written last year during the I guess the most heavy phase of the pandemic. So they steal these vaccines, and then they pretty much vaccinate the entire planet to save it all at once, and then they're like romantically involved, and that's kind of it. They're basically heroes, and they have a bit of a happy ending, like saving all sorts of animals. They're going to adopt children and all that. We get the Bat Family cameo in there, like there's Damian, Red Hood, and Dan Warren. That's the Danny DeVito story. It's one of the weirdest things I've read. I didn't expect it to go in that direction. Like, when I was expecting Danny DeVito writing a Penguin thing, this is the last thing I would expect. But I'm just imagining this as Michelle Pfeiffer and Danny DeVito like romantically living happy together. It's not its own continuity. It's kind of often its own thing. It's just out there and really, really weird. Not the best written storyline. Dan Mora's artwork is great as always, but what the hell? I mean, if for you bird cat shippers of Penguin and Catwoman, if you're out there, there you go. Then we have the Scarecrow storyline, which is kind of interesting. It's kind of showcasing Scarecrow, and then you have like different people kind of standing up to him. You have the same writer and artist on this one. This one was pretty decent. Not quite the strongest of the bunch, but it kind of seems like it's tied a bit into the Dark Knight Returns kind of continuity, and then you have Nightwing there standing up. I don't know, like that's kind of where the ending I was getting off of this thing. Like, this reminds me of, what is it, like Carrie Kelly or something. I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at with this one. So that one's just kind of all right, just kind of like a decent one. It's I guess a little bit better written than the DeVito one, but the Danny DeVito one's just so out there and weird. Then we have the G. Willow Wilson Poison Ivy storyline, and this one kind of showcases Ivy, I guess, post fusing together. She kind of hits on a receptionist, or a receptionist hits on her, and who kind of reminds her a bit of Harley. She basically infects this whole place and like turns them into like plant people. And like she's about to leave this woman to die, but then she kind of saves her, hinting that Ivy, like, she's very villainous in here. She just killed a bunch of people, but there's still kind of a little bit of something else kind of there, so she's kind of off doing her own thing. And it's basically showcasing that Poison Ivy is going to go off and do some more stuff in the coming year. So yes, Poison Ivy just killed a bunch of people, but yay for her, I guess. I don't know, like, this one was just kind of okay, not really like a strong storyline, but it hints at Ivy having a really big year going forward. Then we have the Red Hood storyline. This one's by Stephanie Phillips. Now, in this storyline, it's just kind of like somebody with the Red Hood thing, and then kind of going off and doing their own things and showcasing like them with the whole Red Hood moniker, going toe-to-toe with Batman. One of them kind of dies, and someone else picks up the hood, so it could be Joker or something for all we know. But in terms of this particular story, the strongest standpoint is the artwork. I think this one is one of, if not the best illustrated storyline in this big 100-page comic. After that, we have the Mad Hatter storyline. This is the Dan Waters one. Damian is actually at the forefront of this one, surprisingly. Even though it says it sets up in Arkham City Order of the World. But like, Damian's not in Fear State. He's off on the League of Lazarus thing. But this thing is like, oh, it's setting this up. So this must have taken place like long before issue 1 of Arkham City Order of the World, because Damian, who's a factor in this plot, is just nowhere to be seen at all. He's wearing his old Robin gear. So this tells me like this was probably written like last year, or maybe like at a certain other point, and like maybe perhaps plans changed. There is a bit of funny banter going on, but it really doesn't have a conclusion by the end of it. Like, he's kind of off like, okay, we got to figure out this thing with Mad Hatter. And if you've read Arkham City Order of the World #1, you'd know Mad Hatter like gets apprehended and all that, but no references to this thing, no references to Robin or anything like that, which makes me wonder, like, was there an error? Was there a boo-boo? Or was this supposed to be set a little bit while back? I don't know, but there was some funny bits in there, and it's cool to see a little bit of a Mad Hatter storyline. So after that, we had the one of the more entertaining ones in the book. We had The Happiest Man in Gotham, which is a story of Killer Moth, who is the villain who just profits off of other villains. Like, he doesn't try and do the big heist himself. He usually piggybacks after kind of everyone else so he can reap the benefits of others. Because he's like, okay, I can't really stand on my own as this big grand villain. So what I'm going to do is, like, say Batman's dealing with the Joker at a location, I'm going to also steal, but I'm going to be, like, stealing lesser stuff. And then he seems kind of happy and content with it. So that was kind of a fun, cute little storyline. The next storyline is the best one, and this one's written by Philip Kennedy Johnson. I think this is by far the strongest storyline. After this, I'd also say the Talia one is after that. So pretty much the Al Ghul-based storylines are probably the best. But Philip Kennedy Johnson, let this guy write the Al Ghuls. He does such a perfect Ra's al Ghul, and it really is kind of just this chess game, and he really does a great job showcasing how both Batman and kind of Ra's, or Raish, or however you want to pronounce it, are kind of like, they both want like things to be good, but Ra's just like has his methods of attaining kind of like a peaceful planet and like saving it, but Batman has his own methods. And I think both of them kind of want the other to kind of come to their side, because they could be really great allies and they could benefit the Earth, but like one of them just way more extreme than the other, and you really kind of get that showcase with the whole chess match thing. And then also you have Talia in there as well, and you get kind of like, it feels the closest to Denny O'Neill's Ra's and Talia, and you kind of get things showcased a bit here and like his vision of like what he could have had. And yeah, so I actually quite like this one a bit. I really would like to see the Al Ghuls like showcased more in this manner, especially Talia and Ra's. But like I said, it's the closest it feels like to Denny O'Neill's Ra's al Ghul. So I quite like this one a bit. I think it's worth checking out. Then the last storyline was the Joshua Williamson and Joshua Williamson and Nadia Shamus. So this is the Talia al Ghul thing, and the artwork is really good here. But basically, this is the big one that's going to kind of set things up for Talia's character, kind of putting her in her mind space. So a lot of it reminds me a bit of like Patrick Gleason is kind of where the style was. This is by Max Raynor, so it definitely felt very familiar and kind of in that Super Sons-esque tone. But we actually get to see a young Talia al Ghul. And there's maybe some confusion here. Like, it feels like Roz is setting her up to be like the next Demon's Head in a way, or unless he's just going to be like right next to the Demon's Head working side by side. But why would, like, there's still like him trying to seek Batman as like his proper heir to it all. So I don't know, like I get some kind of mixed messages there. Maybe I'm just getting confused. But basically this is Talia as a kid, which was cool to see. Like, I mean, some of her style reminds me a bit of Damian. Like right here, like all this stuff, like you can see this in Damian, like as when he's doing his whole League of Assassins thing. So definitely reminds him of his mother a lot here. So I thought that was kind of cool. She's just trying to figure out who she is. She's like, I don't know who my mom is, but Roz pretty much does some parenting where he's like, look, you're going to be your own parent, basically. You have to look out for yourself. You can't rely on the dead. Only the living make the decisions. So it's kind of an interesting bit of advice that's kind of stuck with her. And you can see that showcased here is like, never let them see you weak or in a vulnerable state. So she just has to kind of hold her emotions back. And you can see the art that tells the story there. There's that. There's her with Bruce and there's her with Damian. And here she comes, like, ready. Like, she just kind of needed, it's basically her just kind of reflecting on herself. She needed a moment. So yes, and this tells you, just like in the end of the Robin book, be sure to look out for the Shadow War coming in 2022. So we got that thing. But yeah, this is Talia just kind of taking a minute to breathe because she always has to deal with so much stuff at once. And she's like, okay, I just need a minute to like regain her composure. And you can see she's really kind of holding back a lot of that inner turmoil. It's like, okay, got to keep things under control. So yeah, I feel like Talia is a character who's going to showcase some major changes next year in the DC universe. You've already kind of noticed that as of recent, because Williamson and like Kennedy Johnson and all them, they really like the Al Ghuls. So I think they're going to try and showcase them in a better light, especially after how Talia's character has been kind of treated the past, really since Morrison. Like, she's nowhere near like as close to how she was in the Denny O'Neil days, just kind of just a straight up villain. So you got that going on here. So overall, this Gotham City Villains Anniversary Giant, it is a lot to take in. Not every story's kind of amazing or anything like that, but the strongest stuff is with the Al Ghuls. The Danny DeVito storyline is just freaking weird. It's one of the most bizarre things I've read. I was kind of expecting a big twist, like, oh, it's all a dream, but no. Catwoman and Penguin, they're just happily in love. It's really odd. It's really out there. Kind of reminds me a bit of that Batman the Animated Series episode where Oswald falls in love with somebody and he seems kind of happy, but then it was just all like a ploy. Nope. Oswald is happy. They're saving the world, and they're still kind of doing a bit of their criminal life, but they're adopting children, they're saving animals, and they're just madly in love. Really out there, really bizarre for a Penguin Catwoman love story, but if you ever wanted it, you got it here. So anyways, if you've read the Gotham City Villains Anniversary Giant, what did you think of it? Tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. This is like a $10 comic, and there is a lot to unpack in this thing. Like, this took me a minute to kind of get through all of it. But if you're into the Gotham City villains and you want to break that, it doesn't include Joker, then I definitely recommend picking this thing up, because other villains get the showcasing here, like Mad Hatter, the Al Ghul certainly do, Poison Ivy, Penguin. The only one I would have liked to have seen really in this thing is probably a storyline with the Riddler maybe, or perhaps Clayface, but I feel like Clayface is kind of being showcased in the Catwoman book. But yeah, I would have liked maybe a Clayface or a Riddler thing, but it was nice to see Mad Hatter like showcased too, because I feel like it's always just Joker, and a lot of the other Batman villains get kind of like thrown to the wayside. Well, Bane had a big storyline and Scarecrow just did, but I don't know, maybe I kind of want some more stuff with the Riddler as a big bad again, because I feel like he hasn't been in so long, and I'd like to see that. But also, it's nice to see the Al Ghuls written kind of closer to like their original characters and not so far kind of removed. But so I like that stuff too, and I'm excited for what's going to be next for the characters of Talia and Roz going forward. So yep. Anyways, if you read this, tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content. I've got some more comic book reviews coming up today. I'm going to post this one. I got the Batman annual. Then I still got to get through like a few more. I still got to get the Joker annual, Detectives, and Nightwing on top of that. Man, there's just so many. And I think Justice League Incarnate. So I got a lot of stuff to cover. So be on the lookout for that. All right, well, this is a long video, so anyways, tell me your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will see you all next time. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.